Joining us now is actor Daniel Radcliffe, who co-stars in the new Broadway play, The Lifespan of a Fact. It's based on the true story of an essay written about the suicide of a Las Vegas teenager, a determined young fact-checker assigned to fact-check the piece, and the 7-year debate it ignited. It's great to have you on the show this morning.
Thank you.
So Willie and I are kind of confused.
Why?
Because I sort of given up NFL football for English Premier League soccer.
Really?
Yeah,
no, he's
big Liverpool
into
fan.
Soccer, football,
but
soccer.
He's gone the other way.
He's all into.
You're all about the NFL.
I am. Yeah, it's really. It does. I think I still follow English football a bit, but not with nearly the sort of ferocity that I do American football. I don't know why. I got, when I was doing a musical over here actually a few years ago, someone introduced me into the world of like NFL fantasy,
right?
And so I got into a league, and then that was just like, okay,
you
now
belong
this is
to a
my
fantasy
life.
football league?
2.
Oh dear Lord.
One of which I run.
Who's your first pick, Daniel?
My first pick
who's your big stud on
this
the team?
year was, I had the 13th pick in our league, so I had Devontae Freeman, which I was pretty happy with still.
That works.
It didn't go great for me last week, but you know, I'm going to persevere.
You're a Giants fan too.
New York Giants fan?
I am a Giants fan, yeah.
I'm sorry.
Because, well...
That's tough.
I'm trying to understand you.
I know. Well, good. I'm glad that I confuse you.
I'm totally confused.
Yeah, no, I've spent a lot of time in New York and in America, and I do, like, I love it here, and I love a lot of things about the culture, and football is definitely a massive part of the culture over here.
It really is. So the lifespan of a fact really couldn't be more timely.
Yes.
Tell us about
Powerful.
the play and why you decided to get involved.
Yeah, so the play itself, as you said in the intro, in the reality, there was a young man who committed suicide, and an essay was written about that, and a guy was sent to fact-check that essay before it was published in a magazine, and I play that fact-checker who is sent to check the work of an author who is not normally used to being held to journalistic standards of accuracy, and might use poetic license, or or use a word that is more lyrical, but actually a lot less true or factually accurate, to my mind. And so it's about the debate between us and about the why although facts can be a lot drier sounding and less salacious, why they have to be, as my character says at one point, the final measure of what is true. Yes. And so, yeah, though we're not talking about Trump or fake news or Kellyanne Conway or any of those things, you can't mention the words fact and truth now without it seeming political in some way. So we're sort of having the debate without it being overtly a political play. Right. Yeah.
I love it.
You've done so much on Broadway, and I'm always interested by the choices you made. What was it about this one that drew you in?
Partially like the debate that was going on at the center of it, I felt was really interesting and nuanced, and something I hadn't thought about that much, or not in those terms. And yeah, it was also, I should say, it's a comedy, and it's very funny, and the dialogue's very, very snappy and great. So that was a part of it. And I wanted to do a new play for a long time. This isn't the main reason that I did it, but I will say that when you get a copy of a play and it says at the beginning, like, first performed by so and so and so and so at this place on this date, I'd always kind of gone like, oh, I want to have that one day. So with this one, I'll get it.
This is the first time you've done that?
The first time I've done a new play, yeah.
Wow.
But the sacrifice for you personally is going to be great.
Well,
two performances every Sunday.
2 performances every Sunday.
And that means
no football. Or very limited football. The show's about 1.5 hours long, maybe a little bit more with no intermission, and so I could probably see quite a lot of the 4 o'clock games.
So when we go there, and I turn to Mika and say, doesn't it seem like he's rushing his lines?
Yes,
Mika?
he is. He's
like, yeah, the Giants are actually a hell of a comeback.
There are some pauses near the end of the play which are supposed to be a certain length of time, and me and Bobby are already being like, we can cut them down. We'd have to stretch that out.
That's fantastic.
What do you get out of doing Broadway? Why is that for you as an artist? Why is that important?
I think doing theatre in general as an actor, there's something, you know, actors are all like neurotic and insecure in some ways, and I think that there's something that gives you an amazing amount of confidence about doing theatre and being able to do your job without an editor or without, you know, a director there every night or every moment to guide you through it. You know, there's something kind of reassuring that you can do it under those circumstances, and it's, you know, it's scary and terrifying. Like, I'm sure, I mean, you guys do a live show every day, so it's probably not as terrifying.
We're terrified. We're waking up. We wake up in about 3 minutes.
Yes. I would be. Yeah. You know, I would, like, I did the Today Show earlier. I was like, how are you all so calm?
I know.
It's terrifying.
Yes, that's terrifying.
But it is, yeah. There's a huge rush to it.
Who inspires you? Whose work inspires you?
Does that help?
People like some of the people I work with that really inspire me. Actually, honestly, I'm not just saying the two actors I'm working with currently are just amazing human beings as well as being great actors, and those are the people that generally do, like Imelda Staunton, who's in Potter, David Thewlis. I mean, all these people that were just like, that taught me you could be both an incredibly intense, good actor, but also enjoy your job and be nice to people, and like, you know, those were the people that I sort of was always drawn to.
You can do that?
I like
Apparently.
it. Wow. I didn't know that.
Note to Joe.
Yeah, come on, Joe.
You know,
write it down in your flip phone.
They don't have a memo.
Is that a real flip phone?
It's a real flip phone.
Is that really how you do?
Here's the deal. So I'm trying to get off of this.
Which means I answer everything.
Okay? Right, exactly.
That's
and
right.
Trying to move to this, because I think this makes us all dumber.
great for him. He's such a great
But in the
guy.
transition, you're doing both phones.
Everything.
Okay, cool. It's a good system.
What else is new?
I guess.
Yeah, no, I agree. I did a play called Privacy here a couple of years ago, which also terrified me about my phone. So I do agree with the aspiration,
right?
Not the method.
Unfortunately, it is an aspiration. So is there an actor, following up on Mika's question, is there an actor that you just see doing things and you just hate? You're like, oh my God.
No, you can't ask
no, what
that.
I'm saying is because they're so good, you're like, damn, I wish I could do that.
Oh, one of my very good friends is not somebody that I hate, but somebody I do like. I have. He's somebody that I had a moment of going like, oh man, seriously? And I can't. I don't think I should tell you who he is, just in case he gets it. But like, I said to him one day, I was like, you know, describing like when you get nervous before like a big scene or something, and he was just like, no, not really. It was like, I was like, you never get nervous. He's like, no, I just don't. That is annoying.
Christopher Walken.
No, that would be amazing. If I was friends with Christopher Walken, I would be telling you that.
Exactly.
That would be we'd be an unlikely parent.
So let me ask you this. So Willie's kids are younger than mine, and I always tell him, hey, you need, you know, get your kids to watch Star Wars. You need to get your kids to watch whatever. My kids and I saw all the trilogies, but we were just talking off camera. I've seen every Harry Potter now 47 times, except for the third one, The Prisoner of Azkaban, which I've seen 8,200 more times than I've had to see The Lion King. Wow. So are your kids?
So we just had the 20th anniversary of the first book coming out. Yeah. And now you have a generation. My son's 9, so he wasn't around when the books were first written. But kids are again being raised on these books, and they race through the books, and then they race through the movies. What is that like for you to have kids who weren't born when the first one came out coming up to you and saying, "My gosh, you've changed my life. You taught me to read. You taught me to dream. You taught me to imagine." It's
bizarre because you always have a moment of being like, "Well, how did you see them?" "Oh yeah, they're on DVD. You've watched them many times." But yeah, you do have. I always have this sort of strange. It is very strange, but it's also like genuinely lovely to, you know, when somebody comes up and says like, you were a huge part of my childhood. Like, there are things that was a huge part of my childhood, like, and for me The Simpsons was a massive thing, and like the idea that I could occupy a similar place in someone else's life is just so crazy and wonderful. And yeah, I'm always say like I'm incredibly lucky to have, you know, to have got famous or got a thing with Harry Potter, like through that, because it is a genuinely like beloved thing.
Yeah, and it's funny because there was a young girl here, as you were coming in, she was so excited to meet you. You know, she
God,
just
I haven't met her.
Maybe you'll meet her.
I don't think you should. I don't. You know why? Because when I met the Brady Bunch and they'd all grown up, I was like, this is
a very.
She doesn't want to see you grown up. How old are you?
29.
Oh no, Get her out of
Quiet.
She wants to remember you as a child.
But I do-
she
Harry
doesn't.
Potter.
I do have a thing sometimes where I meet kids now and like their parents will bring
Yeah,
them up to
and
me
they
and
cry.
they'll be like, no, it's not crying
Mika,
so much as
stop
just
it.
like disbelieving their parents. They'll just be like, hey, this is Harry Potter, and the kids will be like, no, it's not.
Well, this one was like, forget her. You mean Daniel Radcliffe told
Oh,
me. Yeah,
well.
she knew who you were right away.
Well,
she
that's-
knew just Harry Potter.
That's very, very good.
bring
That's
it up.
big.
Yeah.
That's very nice.
All right, the new play, The Lifespan of a Fact, is playing at Studio 54. We want to go see it. Daniel Radcliffe, thank you very much for being on the
Thank
show
you,
this
Daniel.
morning.
Thank
Great
you
to
for having
meet
me. Cheers.
And we'll be right back with much more Morning Joe.
Thanks for checking out MSNBC on YouTube, and make sure you subscribe to stay up to date on the day's biggest stories. And you can click on any of the videos around us to watch more from Morning Joe and MSNBC. Thanks so much for watching.